this. Let me write one up here for you real quick. New graphing calculator. X squared plus 3. Put it in the standard window. What's it look like? So that kind of shape, let's call it parabola. Can you calculate it? Where is it? There, how's it? That's like, it's like going out with shoes on. So, I'll give this to you today. But it won't happen over and over. But I get that at the end of the hour. What should it look like? Still looking at it? So, do you want to start? Oh, okay, graph y is equal to 4x squared plus 3 in the standard window. Put it in the standard window. So, but you can just go to Zoom right away and then see the zoom. You see what it says, see standard number 6. There you go. That gives it to you a standard number. You have it, Rita? Is that a standard window? That one is too, that's 10 by 10 going both ways. Okay. So, where did we leave off in terms of those activity numbers? Did we complete number 5? X squared minus 5x. Or did we stop at number 4? Would you open your book and take a look? I'm probably not going to put it up. So we got through 4 and that's where we stopped? Yeah. Okay, so then taking a look at activity number 5. So activity number 5 is going to ask us to graph. What is it? Y equals x squared minus 5x. So on page 35. So I think clear everything off. If you have anything in here that isn't it, an additional equation, just clear them all off. And then x squared minus 5x. And then we are supposed to do a window. It goes from negative 10 to 20 on the x-axis. And then pick what you think is an appropriate scale for the tick marks. And then take a look at what they want for the y. So this is what I ended up with. So, you guys have it graphed?
Mhm.
You got yours graphed? Marvel Marvis? Got it? Do yours look the same? Fiona, Raven? Yep. Yours look the same?
Mhm.
Marvis? You have it now? Okay. That window looks different. Take a look at what they want for the x values. They want to go from -10 to 20. So then what they would like us to do is just use the trace function to find where this crosses the x-axis. Later on this year, you are going to find that we look for this number a lot, where parabolas or graphs cross the x-axis is an important place. So if you just hit the trace function, do you have you have a little cursor blinking along the line? And then do you have coordinates on the bottom?
Yeah.
What do your coordinates read, Dawson? So when you hit trace, what are the coordinates that are on the bottom of your window right now? It should say x equals something and y equals something.
X equals 6.13, y is negative 54.3.
Okay, what do yours say, Jackson?
X equals 0 and y equals 0.
So you have y, you have x and y both 0,
Yeah.
the origin. What do yours read? 9 and 0? 9 and 0? What are yours? I can't make these values so miserable, I'm sorry. Yours is, oh, 5 and -50. What are yours? Okay. Can you use the left and right arrow and try to get it so that your y value is 0? You see, when y is 0, then you are on the x-axis. Can you get it there?
There,
Okay, so now hit the trace key up on the top, and now move left and right. Can you get 0 and 0 out of yours, Dawson?
Yep.
Okay. I can't, I don't, oh, no, I can. You can get 0 and 0? What's the other one? 0, 0, and what's the other x-intercept? In other words, the other location that the line crosses the x-axis.
X equals 15, y equals
15? Oh. Yeah, I screwed up. I entered it wrong. So you have 15 and 0? Okay. So there's something that you can do with this. Like if you get really close with when you're tracing, and your cursor is kind of like going on both sides of the point that you're trying to identify, you can zoom in more. You can use the zoom stuff that I showed you yesterday to zoom in closer. But there's another thing that you can do where you can make, like if you have two equations that cross one another and you're looking for the point that they intersect at, you can force the calculator to guess what that intersection is by using the calculate commands. So if you hit, ooh, shoot. if you hit the second key and then the trace, just hit that once. That's the calc. You see where it says a value, a zero, a minimum, a maximum, or an intersection? You can do an intersection, and when you have two equations on here and you hit enter after that's highlighted, what you end up doing is you take the cursor and you hit enter when it's on one side of the intersection, and then you trace to the other side of the intersection where the two lines cross, and hit enter again, and then hit enter a third time, and it will guess exactly what the intersection is. It does a calculation. So that can be a very valuable tool. Later on in the year, we'll get to that, and we'll use it. I'll show you how to do it. That number 2 there under calculate, that's called a zero. A zero is the same as finding the x-intercept. It's when y is equal to 0, what is the x value? So if you go to second calc, and it reads calculate value 0, minimum, maximum, can you find that? Scroll down to 0 and hit enter. And then you'll have your cursor blinking.
Yeah.
Is your cursor blinking on the line right now?
Yeah.
So yours is right at an intersection there, isn't it? And did you do second calculate? And it took you right there, because you are right on it. Do this, I'm gonna quit that, graph it. So if you hit second flip and then graph again. And then go back to your trace and move your trace off, like this. Now hit second calc. So then go back to trace. And then use the arrow to move your cursor off. Keep going to the left. That's good. And now hit second calc. When you hit second calc and then you hit the 0, and you see how it says left bound on the bottom? When you do second calculate. And then hit number 2 for 0. See how it says left bound? If you hit enter, and then what you're going to do is now you're going to go to do the right bound. So you're going to go all the way over here. You're going to go to the other side of it. So the other, move the cursor so it's on the other side of that intersection. You're just going to move yours over to the other side of where it crosses. Keep going. Now hit enter again. And then hit enter. And then you see, you hit enter and hit enter again, see how it put it right to there. Did you do a left bound, right bound?
Yeah.
So that's your left bound. So now move the cursor up here. Oh wait, stop right there, hit enter. There's your left boundary. Now move it up here to the right side of the intersection. Now hit enter. And then hit enter again, and it finds it. So, move your cursor one direction. Oh, you're on left bound.
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep going. Keep going to the right. Stop right there, hit enter. Now move it to the right side of what the intersection that you're looking for with the x-axis. There, now hit enter. And hit enter again. And see how it finds it. And it will do that with multiple equations as well. So hit trace function.
That's cool.
So move your arrow to the left. Stop. Now hit second trace for calculate. And then go down and hit the 0, number 2. These are not cell phones. So when you guys are sitting there trying to drive them with your thumbs, it's really, really awkward, isn't it? They're meant to be on the table and used that way. So now so hit enter. So you have the left boundary. Now go to the right side of where it intersects the x-axis. Now stop. Now you're looking for your right boundary, hit enter. And hit enter again. And then it finds that intersection. So we'll do that with intersecting lines if you have two equations. We'll do it with finding zeros. Very powerful tool. So a bit on using these things. Cell phones, we handle them like this with our thumbs. But these are different kinds of keys and they weren't designed like that. Because they don't self-correct. You know, you're texting on your cell phone and you have spell correction going. You know, it's different. So with these things, I would suggest you set them down and go old school and put them like an old person on a cell phone. You will be much more accurate and you'll be less frustrated trying to balance the thing in your hands. Okay, so there is 5 plus some. Go to the next page on page 36 and enter y equals x squared minus 5x. That we have in already, right? X squared minus 15x. So there we're going to use the same function and we're going to go to table setup, which is table set, which is on the top row above the window key. So that's a second function. So second and then the window key is table settings. And what you will, are you there?
How do you get the tables?
So second, and then the window button, that's table set, TBL SET. You guys there? All right, so it will say table setup, and then it says TBL start. So if you want your table to start on a particular value, like 100, so you don't have to scroll through a big long table of values, you can make it so that when you view the table, it starts at any point you wish to have it start at. And then you see where there's a little triangle TBL, that's actually delta, Greek letter delta, which means a change in. So in this case here, the change in the table is probably 1. That's what it defaults to. But you could have your table go every 10th or every 10, you know, so you can have your table have x values that change with any interval that you wish to have. And then the independent and the dependent, just make it auto. Otherwise, it starts getting confusing. You know, eventually you'll understand how to use the ask, but probably not for a couple of years. So they want us to start the table at -10. So go to your table start and begin with a -10. Don't forget to use the negative in the parentheses. And then we want the increment to be equal to 1. So delta table is going to be 1. And then all you do is you hit the table button, which is going to be second graph. So it's a second function. And now you have a table of values, a table of ordered pairs. They've all been calculated for you. And it begins at -10. And you can scroll in both directions. You know, you could go more negative by scrolling up, and then you can go beyond what is seen. And you can go to positive values, and you just go and go and go and go. And you can find all of the outputs for those given inputs. And if you take a look, you have a whole bunch of extra columns there. So if you have 2 or 3 or 4 functions entered into y equals, you can compare all of the outputs of different functions at each of these x values. So this is an extremely powerful tool that I want you guys to get good at using. Because once you understand the concepts of how to do the algebraic work, this makes many, many calculations that you might have to do get done in just a couple of keystrokes. So have you found table? Yeah, so let's see what your table looks like. So, but now you have a delta table of 0.02. You want to change that to just 1. Clear that and hit 1. There you go. Now go to table. Second. That's table settings. Second function, and then here. There you are. All right, so do we have, so this is what I've got on my table. So let's see, we've got comparing the expressions of quantity x minus 3 squared and x plus 3 squared by graphing them. So we want to go to y equals. We want to clear that equation. And then we want to use the parentheses to have x minus 3 to the second power. And then the second function will be x plus 3 to the second power. Then we want to put that into a standard window. Don't forget the parentheses. And to go to the standard window, you could just simply click on zoom and then pick number 6 Z standard. It graphs it straight away. So what do you have? What does it look like? Raven, what do your lines look like? So those are parabolas. They open up or do they open down? They open up. Are they on the same side of the y-axis? Or are they on opposite sides of the y-axis? Do you understand what I'm asking? No? Okay. So if you were to sketch them, so if one of them is like this, are they both over here? Or if this is the y-axis, are they on both sides?
They're on opposite sides.
They're on opposite sides, aren't they? In this point right here, where the parabola touches the x-axis, what does it appear to be? What's the x value of that point? What does it look like it is? You're in a standard window. So you can do one of two things. You could either trace, or you can look at your tick marks. What does it appear to be?
9.
Say again?
X equals 0, y equals 9.
Okay, so that's the y-intercept. Yes, the lines cross at y is equal to 9, it looks like, when x is 0. But when y is 0, then you're looking at where it crosses the x-axis. So what are those 2 points? You can even trace if you wanted.
The blue line is 2.9 on x equals and y equals 0.0.
Yeah, so you're close to y is equal to 0. So what whole number does it appear to be close to? 3. Yeah, 3 and negative 3 is actually what they are. All right, let's look at number 8. Okay, so question number 8. Go into y equals. Clear everything out of that. So those are all blank. And then if you had a table of values, you can put them into the graphing calculator and you can do a lot with them. It gets really, really powerful. So like if you collect data in a scientific experiment, you can actually figure out what the equation would be that would graph that data by just putting the data into here, not knowing what the equation is. So what you're going to begin with is we're going to go into statistics plotting, which is abbreviated stat plot. So to get to stat plot, you go to the second key, and then right above it is stat plot. And when you get there, you're going to see that it says plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, etc. Do they all say off, or do any of them say on?
Plot 1 is on.
So you have plot 1 on.
I think I just turned plot 1
Fiona, Raven, what do you have? So you have 1 is on? Yes? Do you know what I'm asking?
on. I think so.
Okay.
Up there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, up there you have 1 dark, but if you do second stat plot, So second stat plot will show you some of that same information, but it'll look a little bit different. Yeah, so you have everything off. What was your 5 off?
Yeah, I did.
That's weird, okay. Could you go turn 5 off and turn 1 on? So you just scroll down to number 5, hit enter. Then
Is it also tell you? What?
turn it on for a second. I'm just reading, no, just for number 1, hit enter. Go back to second stat plot, you know, second stat plot right above, yep. And then hit enter for number 1, and then you'll have a choice where it's on or off. And highlight the on. And then if you hit second stat plot, you'll see number 1 should be on. So you have number 1 on?
Yep.
You got number 1 on? You got number 1 on. Okay, sweet. So now do this. Hit stat, which is sort of in the middle top. And then you'll hit stat, and then you'll choose edit by hitting enter. And do you have any data in any of these columns?
I got data.
You do?
I do not.
What does yours look like? Okay, so if you use the arrow, you go up and you highlight the L1 and the L2. When L1 is highlighted, you hit clear, it clears the whole column. So yours are clear. So hit the enter key now. Okay, yours are all clear. That's good. How about over here?
Clear.
Yours are clear. Marvis? So we hit stat, and then enter. Grab it like a calculator, not a cell phone.
Some of
Now
it.
use your arrow to go to and highlight L1 and hit clear. What's gonna happen? What's up? What's the clear? Clear, and then hit enter. Okay, sweet. So now do this. From your book, they give us some data where x is equal to -2 and y is equal to 6. So enter in L1 all of the x values. So that's going to be 2, and then all you do is hit the enter key and it moves you down. And then a 5, and then -7. Don't forget to use the parentheses, and then the 3. And then use your arrow to move over to L2 and enter the y values into L2. So now you have 4 points, 4 ordered pairs.
Not finished or something.
So you have them in there?
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, right here. These values right here. So it's L1, it's L2. You find it?
Yeah.
Is that in there? Okay, so then, because you have stat plot on, stat plot number 1 turned on. And if you go to that, go to second stat plot. And you see where it says plot 1 being on, and then it says L1 and L2? What it's doing when you graph number 1 is it's taking x values from L1 and y values from L2. You can change that if you wanted to. Because you have lots of lists on these calculators. I think you have 1,000 of them you can set up. So all you do from here is click graph. And now you should have little boxes for each of the
Hey,
points.
sketch.
You can change those boxes to little dots, little plus signs, whatever you want. So, go to graph.
I feel fancy.
So you have an error. So go back to second stat plot. Actually, you have to hit enter to quit what it's trying to do. And go second stat plot. Okay, so you have 1 on, you have to turn 2 off. No. Yeah, give them all. Do this, go down to number 5 and turn them all off. So that, turn them all off at one time, I'm sorry. Go back the second step off. Yeah, just turn off the roof. Okay. Now try to graph it. Okay, quit that again, hit enter. So go to stat, edit. I think something's wrong in here. You use the negative down here? Okay, let me drive this thing for a second. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, you see what it's doing? It's pulling for L3 and L4. So hit enter. So then go down here and change that to L1. Clear. So second, and then the number 1. Second L1, then go down and change L4 to L2. Now hit graph. There it is. Alright. Yeah, it's possible that whoever used this one before had some of the settings changed for some of you guys. And did we clear the memories out of these? We didn't. Okay. We'll probably be okay with it. Alright, that's what I have. I don't think there's anything else other than homework and what else? This is why you check this thing all the time. There's Wednesday. So completing lesson 1-5. Then I have homework 1 to 14 and 15 to 26, so that's 20 followed at 1 to 26. But then I also have a quiz for you. So if you're homebound, you're going to get this quiz sent to you. And you're going to have to get it back to me within a couple of hours. But I'm going to be sending an email asking when in the world you're going to be wanting the quiz. I'm going to give you limited time to work on it. That's it.